Hi, I'm Emmerly Tinglin, and you're watching The Permanent Rain Press.
Hi everyone, it's Chloe with the Permanent Rain Press. Today I'm happy to be joined by Emmerly Tinglin. How are you?
I'm good, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you for asking. I'm so excited to dive into season 9 of The Next Step. But to start off, what can you tell me about your background in the arts and in dance, and what sparked that passion in you to pursue this as a career?
I actually started out doing gymnastics when I was about like 7 or 8. I did competitive gymnastics for I think about like a year and a bit, and I realized that floor like was more so my thing, so dancing. So my mom's like, you know what, like let's get her in dance. I've been dancing ever since, really. I started when I was 8, and I'm I've just loved it. I danced at two different studios, but I moved and I ended up going to join Chapman School of Dance. And then from there, next step auditions came and I was like strictly dance, and like now I'm like falling in love with acting. So that's more so where I'm going as well. So yeah.
Joanne Chapman School of Dance. What can you say about your training there? Like, how did the school and faculty help you grow your craft?
I can actually like go on about it. They just had their 50th anniversary and I had to like make a video and I had to talk about it. I'm like, I don't even know like where to start, but I started when I was in grade 10. I had moved from a studio I was going to before, and I honestly just took a leap. I met some friends in high school, and they're like, "Hey, come to my studio." And I was like, "You know what? Like, I love dance so much." So I ended up taking the chance and I went there. I did every style. So I did tap, jazz, ballet, acro, hip hop, contemporary, and it honestly it was very intense from what I was coming from. I was there about I'll say maybe 6 days a week. Yeah, I was there 6 days a week, right after school until the end of the night. But I loved it. Like it was like a full-time commitment. It was so much fun for me. They work you really hard, but they've just taught me discipline and like life skills, not just dance. And I actually, after I graduated, I did another year because of that's how much I loved it. But amazing, amazing people, amazing teachers, Joanne Chapman, Dana, Jesse, all my teachers, all my ballet teachers, everyone, top teachers, they've taught me so much. So it was an amazing experience.
You mentioned you're there after school until night, like a second kind of schooling, but I'm glad that you were able to take so much out of your time there. How have your Dominican and Jamaican cultures shaped you as a person?
That's well, my mom loves to dance and so does my dad. So that shaped it as well. Just like I grew up listening to soca music and then my dad was more so reggae. So both of them together is just like it's very like dance based. You just want to get up and dance when you hear the music. So I feel like that really pushed me towards dance as well because they loved it. So yeah, I think the music, honestly.
So I imagine they were very supportive of you going into a career in the arts.
Oh, honestly, I really think I hit the jackpot with my parents because a lot of people don't have parents that would support. They're like, hey, I'm not going to school, I'm going to dance. And instead of my parents looking at me like, what do you mean? I think they saw how passionate I was about it. And I think my dance teacher as well, Joanne, had a conversation with my parents and they're like, you know what? As long as you're not at home, doing nothing and I see that you love it, go for it. So I always tell people like I really do think I hit the jackpot with my parents.
As an artist of color, what barriers did you face early on in your career as a dancer, even to this day, and how have you been able to overcome them and push for more positive representation?
Hmm. I realized this was more of a thing like at first I didn't even realize it and people would bring it to my attention that hey, like it happens like it's going to be a little bit more difficult for you. And honestly, I never really saw that. I was like, yeah, whatever, like if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. Um, it's difficult. Like I feel like How do I even explain this? It's difficult because there's a mold that people, that everyone wants you to fit into, and not necessarily do I fit that mold. But I feel like at the end of the day, if you're talented and you work hard and you're supposed to be there, you will be there. So yes, I honestly do think it's about like it's a restriction, and it can be sometimes. I try not to look at it that way. So yeah, try to be positive about it.
I love that because at the end of the day, you know that you're putting in the work. So
Mhm.
it's kind of like you know that you're doing all that you can do. What's really interesting as a show like The Next Step, especially in the past two, three seasons, has really shifted in terms of its cast featuring dancers from more underrepresented and marginalized communities. So is this a change that something that you've noticed and been proud to be a part of?
I'm like so proud. It's funny, me and my friends talk about this all the time because it's just a lot of cultural change. Like, even if you watch a couple different shows, like, I remember the last time I saw like a black lead woman and then still have a black boyfriend and like black characters or even people of color characters, everybody is like mixed or everyone has, it's just honestly, it's crazy to see. And I feel very like seen and very heard, and and people make comments about it and people are happy to see it, the representation, and yeah, I'm very happy to be a part of it, honestly.
For you, like you've been such a big part of it too, like in season six, and then it's only gotten like we've gotten queer representation, and then
Mhm.
yeah, it's just really nice to see on a show like this that reaches so many young viewers across the world. We will get into season nine of The Next Step, so we are discussing spoilers for all those watching and listening. Please make sure you have finished this season before continuing. Now, how early on were you approached with ideas about Kenzie in season nine and what the writers and producers had planned, and what were your thoughts on all of it?
So the thing about the next step is we don't there's not like a long wait period, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like if we hear about it in the next like month or two, we're on go mode. So I feel like I got maybe like a month or maybe even a little bit less to hear about it, which I like. Honestly, you hear about it and you get right to work because the suspense would get to me. So I like the way it runs.
In terms of like Kenzie in season nine, like when you heard the plans for her, I mean, what was your reaction?
We started filming this one in February or January, February. It was a bit colder actually, because you're right, we always do film in the summer. Um, and when I heard about the plans, I was just excited. Like I genuinely love the show, and the fact that they keep like giving me a chance and like putting more on my plate and like expecting me to like, get it together really makes me feel like they trust me. So I was really excited to hear about um just taking more of a lead role, honestly. And like it was also different because they're like, hey, you're not gonna be there for a little bit. Like, we're gonna make you go away to France and give you like just like more responsibility. So honestly, I was happy about that.
I thought it was so nice to see you as number one on the call sheet this season. And of course, number one in the White Walls and show. I mean, it's been some time coming, but watching Kenzie kind of grow as a person and thrive has been so rewarding. Can you share any details that you created yourself or discussed with others as to Kenzie's backstory and upbringing? Maybe elements that we don't see on screen but helped you shape her.
Hmm. Um, yeah, number one on the call sheet's kind of crazy. Like I saw it and I was like, whoa, like I think when I started I was 14. I think I was number 14 when I started. And I was like, being one is like, wow, like we've been here for a little bit. Backstory wise, honestly, when I first started as Kenzie, they really made it kind of like based on me in a sense. When I was younger, I was a bit more like spicy, I had a bit more energy, and like I feel like that's how Kenzie started in season six. But as I grow, um I feel like I've just adapted to. I feel like I've changed, and I feel like Kenzie's changed with me. I don't really think there's much of like a backstory. I feel like I just go in and it's like they let me be me, which I really enjoy.
And then I know you come from a big family, like with six kids, so maybe that's something that you pulled into it. Maybe Kenzie was something like that when she was young, like you mentioned, being kind of like spicy. Maybe she had to like do things to get her own way.
100%. I agree. I I was the youngest for most of my life, and then my mom had my little sister, so I feel like I was a baby. So I was kind of like, yeah, like I get what I want, you know? So so I think Kenzie was like very determined, like I get what I want, and I like if I want it, I'm gonna work for it. So yeah, I agree.
In your eyes, what are Kenzie's best and most flawed qualities as a person?
I think Kenzie loves to help people. I think she just wants everything to go smoothly. She wants to be there for everybody. But I think her biggest downfall is she doesn't like to ask for help. I feel like she always wants to do it alone. And you're gonna have to learn eventually that, hey, you're gonna need some help. So I think those are the ones for her.
Tell me about Kenzie and Pete's relationship and the connection that they have. Like, as a unit, what did they struggle with and have to overcome in season 9?
I think they have a great relationship, honestly. I think it's honest. I don't know if it was a relationship I saw coming necessarily, but those are usually the best ones. For did you ask for a flaw? I think, hmm, I think for a flaw in season 9 is I think their heads are in two different places. I feel like Kenzie is figuring out what she wants to do, where she wants to go, how she wants to do it, and Pete's like studio. I'm like, yeah, let's focus, let's lock in. As much as he's supportive, of course, but he's like, we have a goal, so we need to focus on that. So I feel like their heads are just in two different places.
There is definitely a bit of a difference based on, when they joined age group and all of that. So, like, just you mentioned like timing issues. Did you ever consider like the power dynamics of their relationship? Like, I know it's not the first one where someone was kind of like dance captain and ended up with another dancer, but is that something you ever thought about with Kenzie being the dance captain of age group?
I never thought of it like that because Pete's character has always been so supportive of Kenzie. Like anything you need support with or anything you need help with, I got you. Like that's just Pete's character with everybody. So I also don't think Kenzie's one to be like, well, maybe a little in season 9, but I don't think she's one to be like, it's my way or the highway. Like I said, I feel like she just wants to make everybody happy. So I think it's just Pete being very supportive and Kenzie being a bit of a people pleaser that it works out.
How was it working with Ben as a love interest and scene partner, especially in the more kind of tense and emotional moments that they had to go through this season?
Hmm. Working with Ben's so much fun. Like we're always laughing. I've actually known Ben since I think maybe high school or before that. We grew up in the same city. Our schools were kind of like close to each other. So I used to see him at different dance conventions. So I've known Ben for a while. Um, yeah, it's just when you're working with your friends, it's really just easy. Like it just flows. Nothing was awkward. And if it was awkward, we are literally making a joke out of it. So it was a pleasure to work with him. And like it's very easy and like I feel like we're actually having like real life conversations sometimes when we're talking. So it's very natural. It's always a great time. He's hilarious.
And he's on tour right now as well, right? With Troye Sivan.
He is amazing. Like he is doing his big one out there. I'm so proud of him, and I think he should be coming back soon. So hopefully I can see him. But I'm so proud of him. He's doing amazing. Like, yeah,
You'll need to catch up and hear all the tour stories.
exactly.
I love the scene in episode 8 where Kenzie confides in Heath about her feelings for Pete. So tell me about that friendship between Kenzie and Heath and filming that scene opposite Carter.
I feel like Kenzie and Heath. relationship is like really based on me and Carter because we started out at the same season, but we were kind of like, I'd say the underdogs. Like we were kind of like didn't have many lines and our storyline wasn't as big. So I really think in real life we made a bond, but at the same time, like that was a great way to make our characters together. I feel like we've always been we call each other the Cliff and the Kens, like in real life, that's what we call each other. So I feel like when I found out I was doing that scene with him, like looking at Carter alone in that scene, I'm just like, okay, great, I'm gonna cry. Like it's so that was honestly up to this day one of my favorite scenes filming. And it was because it was obviously there was a lot going on behind the scenes. Like I was going through like it was based on real life experiences. So I've also when I was going through real life things, I was talking to Carter about it. He was giving me advice. So that's one of my favorite scenes. I watch it all the time, actually.
And it's so nice to see like the whole male female friendship that's like not romantic, right? And they're just like such a pure friendship there. And it's almost like I don't know, a little bit of, healing during that process for you, although I'm sorry to hear that something was going on, but it made for really good scene and television. So
I agree. I agree. That's but you sometimes you have to draw on real life experiences to, really get you in the scene, and it works. I'm not mad at it.
which was your favorite season 9 dance to participate in and why?
I think I have two. I'll say me and Ben's duet. I feel like any of me and Ben's duets are like we had this one and the one from season 8. I still watch it up to this day. Those two are both my favorites. Um, because when me and Ben work together, we have Amy and all the other choreographers there. When Nathan was helping with this one, but it's also like me and Ben bounce off of each other. Like sometimes Ben hears something that I wouldn't hear, and I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, that, like, let's do that. So it's very fun to make the duet, as well as the hip hop that we did at internationals. Nathan killed that choreo. Like it was so much fun. I feel like we don't do a lot of hip hop on the show, and it's one of my favorite styles. And fun fact, Nathan Espeo, the person who choreographed it, was my hip hop teacher when I grew up at Joanne Chapman. So it was just really nice getting back into that style and just having fun. It was so much fun to film that. So I think those two are my favorite.
The Notorious dance was so electric and fun, and you got to wear yellow, which I know is your
Ah,
favorite color as well.
yeah.
One of my favorite dances in season 9 was the 10-person dance for internationals. It was so beautiful, the song and everything. How was that one to work on and film?
Fun fact about that, I actually wasn't supposed to be in that dance. So I didn't learn it when everybody else learned it. And then maybe I think a week before, 2 weeks before, I don't know what changed, but Amy's like, hey, I need you to learn it. So I said, great. So I didn't learn it with everybody else. I like learned it on the side. But I could say performing that dance was a lot of fun. I just love dancing. I always had solos growing up, but I'm such a group dancer to like my core. I love the energy of having people around me when I'm dancing and just doing my thing. So I had a great time. They're so much fun.
Especially with the theme of that dance as well, which is kind of like, picking each other up. And I was curious, did anyone almost trip on the train on Hattie's dress? Because that thing was gorgeous, but it looked like extremely kind of hard. Everyone was kind of like making sure that they were like running around it and yeah.
100%. It's really long, so you do have to be careful because you will slip on it. And we're also wearing like dance socks, so anyhow your foot gets on that, it's over. So you have to be careful.
Making sure there's no like safety incidents on set, but it turned out again really well, like all the dances. How about your favorite dance that you were a part of throughout seasons 6 to 8? So aside from the duet that you mentioned with Ben, is there any other ones that stand out for you?
I'm trying to think. I loved the girls' dance that we did. Oh no, it wasn't a girls' dance. We were in, it was regionals, and we were in camo, and it was like the small group hip hop dance. I'll never forget that. It was so much fun to do that because we were actually on a stage, and I love dancing on a stage. I remember that one being really fun.
I was going to say, like, because internationals this season was at the home studio, so you didn't actually get to go film in front
Yeah.
of like a second audience, but you have had a taste of that in past seasons.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it was very different, but they really did like when I walked in, I was like, oh, okay. Like I still do feel like I'm on a stage, which is really nice.
It was nice of them to like kind of elevate it a bit more. I think I was watching we'll talk about your vlogs a bit later, but like your first reactions to kind of be like, "Oh, okay, like they actually did do something and this looks like
Exactly.
exciting."
Yeah. I was a little bit worried, but I'm like, I don't know why I'm worried. The next step always pulls it off, so they did it.
So Kenzie is chosen to join Team France and L'équipe Étoile as part of the internationals exchange program. And we don't see too much of her time, in France, which I'm guessing you were just still in Toronto. And with that studio, but how do you imagine that stay went for her after those initial hesitations about going?
I feel like Kenzie did a lot of growing in France. She figured out it's crazy, but they figure out there's more than the next step. And I feel like it's like that when you leave your dance studio, it's like, wow, there's more to life than a dance studio. Even though I'm still hopping in my dance studio, I'll go back any day. But sometimes it's like, wow, like there's real life outside of that. Even after school, you have to graduate eventually. So I think she did a lot of thinking about like, what is she doing next? Like, does she want to stay? Does she want to go? She doesn't even know what she's doing, you know? So I feel like I feel like it was growth. I feel like it was making new friends, it was traveling. I think she had a good time.
And it must have been like really scary for her because at the same time, she's seen a lot of her friends at this point kind of move on from the next step. So she's kind of one of, I mean, besides her and Heath, but with Kenzie on A Troop, kind of like the last one of that iteration of dancers.
Yeah, I remember like thinking about it after filming season 8. I was like, wow, like I cried. We all cried so hard. Like I met half of them when I was 17, 18 is when I met all of them. And then it was kind of like, wow, like I'm kind of like alone now by myself. Obviously I have Carter and I have everybody on my team, but it's kind of like from the cast I started with. Um, so it's now like it's getting real. Is what is Kenzie doing? So yeah, I agree.
How was it to split your time between TNS and then the new dancers in Team France, like especially working with ones like Savannah, Cameron, and Will?
Um, the dance world is very small, so I already knew them. I knew basically everyone on the set, so I had a great time with Team France. Like, I don't think this season I just didn't stop laughing. I feel like I was laughing every single day. I loved every cast member. Um, it was very interesting splitting time because each is still a new group to me, if that makes sense. Like, I'm still learning everybody. Um, but I had a great time either way. They're both great. Both teams are great.
So you mentioned that you were told like, okay, that Kenzie would be going on this exchange program. So it wasn't like scheduling conflict related. Like it was just like, okay, we'll give you a little break for like a 2, 3 episodes.
Yeah, I was there. It was just for a storyline, basically. It was storyline purposes. I didn't have anywhere to go.
So I imagine though they do film episodes quite quickly, right? So really for you, was it only like kind of a week break that you had?
I think it was about 2 weeks because I was gone for like 5 or 6 episodes.
I
I
think
feel
you
like,
did make like some quick appearances like over video call and things like that.
yeah, exactly. So, but for the duration, like those other ones, I was gone. It was like, yeah, maybe like a week and a half, 2 weeks. I wasn't on set. So I had a bit, which is very odd because you're usually there every single day for like what, 2, 3 months. Um, so I kind of got to like regroup and like, no, I felt like I wasn't burnt out, like, which was also, it was really nice, honestly.
It's almost like a little gift they gave you as number one. They're like, okay, you will give you some recharge time so you can come back stronger and better than ever.
Exactly. Exactly.
Tell me about Kenzie and Camille's friendship. Like, what was that born out of? And then the loss and regaining of trust that they went through.
I think it was nice that someone finally understood Kenzie. So like a dance captain to dance captain, it was like, okay, like oh, she gets me. Like all I want is for my team to do good, but at the same time, she wanted to audition for Freya, so it was kind of like, oh wow, like she wants to do other things as well. Like, so do I, but I don't know how to go about it. So I think it was just really nice having someone to confide in. And then honestly, I can really say I think Kenzie was hurt at the fact that the one person she thought like actually understood her and the new friend that she made was not really her friend for a little bit. So I do think she was definitely upset about that because there's actually a scene that they cut out that I like storm into cha-chas and like we have some words and I could really say like Kenzie was upset. But I do think at the end of the day Camille did the right thing and I guess Kenzie was like, you know what? There's forgiveness. So I was happy the way they did that in the storyline.
It's not discussed in detail on screen, but aside from being dance captains, do you think they also opened up to each other about their experiences being dancers of color?
Of course, I probably think so as well, because it's very rare, like I'll say two black dance captains. Like I love that. Like, so I'd hope that was a conversation they definitely had.
And after she returns home, she does lose her dance captaincy. She makes herself alternate because she was prioritizing the Freya audition. Do you think that losing the dance captaincy was a bit of a weight off of her shoulders at the time?
Hmm. Maybe, honestly, I feel like maybe if someone else took on that responsibility, I could finally focus on myself. Because I do say at one point, like, all I ever do is think about the team. Like, I don't think about anybody else besides the team. So I feel like she had a minute to like actually like try and figure out what does Kenzie want? Like, what can Kenzie do? So yeah, I do think that took some weight off of her shoulders for sure.
I definitely agree with, that assessment you said before about being the people pleaser, because I feel like as much as that position was an honor for her and something she took so much pride in, like she was maybe struggling with some of those aspects of that position, like you mentioned, not being able to set aside time for herself.
Yeah. And I agree. I think, like I said, she just wanted everything to be perfect. And she was always at the studio, always in the office, always doing this, always doing that, checking on people. So, yeah, I think it worked. I think, yeah, I agree with you.
And it's crazy with like Nick being gone, right? It kind of a lot of more duties fell on Kenzie. It's kind of
Mhm.
like she's already so swamped with other things, with the new dancers coming in. Your friend Briar, she returned as Richelle in episode 20 for a little cameo. Tell me about your friendship and how nice was it to have her back and have Richelle and Kenzie share that moment.
It was so nice. I missed B. It's really fun doing scenes with her and it's very natural. Ever since I've met her, she's just been the best. So it doesn't feel like I'm acting when we do a scene together. Like I'm like, oh my gosh, B, like that's my girl. So it was really nice to have her back on set. It felt comfortable. I just missed her. I missed working with her. So it was a good time.
Tell me about Kenzie's speech before the 10-person internationals dance. How did you prepare for it and how was it to film? Like, what did you draw upon?
Oh my God, I can cry. Um, so I learned a whole monologue, which this always happens. I learned the whole monologue. I read the script and da da da. And then Romeo on the speaker, he goes, okay, improv. And I'm like, for sure. So when you're in the moment and you just start thinking about like the whole season and like I've been there for a little bit, so it's just like how far actually, not just you, but like I've watched some of these kids, they've just never been on set before. So it's like watching them from the first day till now, like I told him all the time, like, I'm so proud of you guys, like you're doing amazing. So I feel like he told me to just think about everything and like actually just be real with it, which is also one of my favorite ones. Like my favorite type of speeches is when it's like I don't really have to remember anything and they just make it easy for me. They just make it easy for me, honestly.
It was so emotional and it looked like it came naturally for you. I'm glad that you didn't have to do much acting. How many tears were shed that day for you?
Oh my gosh, I was like, it was in the morning. I'm just crying. I'm like bawling my eyes out. We're all just bawling at like 10 in the morning. But they were real, they were genuine. So those are the ones that make me happy. Like those type of moments, those scenes.
For Kenzie, what did it mean to have Anthony call on her during that pivotal moment?
I think it meant a lot because I never even realized that Kenzie's been to regionals, nationals, internationals until they told me. I was like, oh, yeah, like I've done all three. And I think it just felt good to be acknowledged. Like I think that's all Kenzie ever wanted is like just to be seen. And I can relate to that, honestly. And I think Anthony has always seen Kenzie. Like I feel like he's always been like, oh my God, she's actually great, which is honestly and truly like even Blake himself. Like I was talking to the other day, like he is one to be like, oh my God, Emmerly, you're awesome. Like after every like big scene I do, he'll be like, oh my gosh, like great job. So I feel like it was very also very natural, and I think it just meant a lot to me and Genzi, honestly.
That's so kind that there's someone there who's there to like, hype you up all the
Yeah.
time, and especially like dance captain to dance captain, like even when he kind of took over, you could see like she had an impact on him, even if she was away in Team France and didn't always kind of see what that meant. So Kenzie does receive an offer to dance for Fair Sky on tour. She's in a good place with Pete. Tinas has just won internationals. Take me through where she's at mentally and emotionally at the end of season 9.
At the season 9, I feel like she got what she wanted on both ends. They won, and she has the opportunity. But like I was saying, like even Emmerly, like I have such a tie to my dance studio, and I feel like every competitive dancer will understand that it is not easy to leave. Like you've been doing something for years, and it's like now I have to just leave, you know? So I think in her head, she's not ready. I don't know if she's ready. She's not, I don't know if she's made up her mind. I don't know if it's like so I think she's just torn because she's built so many relationships, but at the same time, it's such a great opportunity. So she literally just has it up in the air. I'm not sure.
And it's just so fresh in that moment still, and it's nice that with Pete, he's like, I'll support you either way. What a nice boyfriend. What are
Literally.
your thoughts on the cliffhanger in terms of studio owners? Because I mean, you and Ben were sitting right there when Michelle and Eldon come in with that proposition to Nick. So what are her thoughts, and where do her loyalties lie?
I'm not gonna lie, I did not know this was gonna happen. Like I had no idea. I was just as shocked. I was like, oh my goodness, like what's happening? Um, I feel like I feel like how do I explain this? I feel like not Vic, Michelle and Eldon, the character names always get me. I feel like Michelle and Eldon, they are the OGs, so I understand why like they'd want to have the next step with them forever. But also understand Nick. Nick has put so much work into the studio, and as much as he doesn't know a lot about dance, I you could really tell Nick loves it. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't even know if they really expected it or like what to do. Like I was in the moment, I was like, I don't even know what to say. Like, so yeah, that's how I feel about it.
Is definitely interesting. And like you mentioned, it's almost like this pull where like there's the OGs versus someone who has been such a like key part of the next step and helping it survive over especially like your kind of era on the
Trust.
show. At this point, would you return in season 10 as a main cast member? Like, what are your thoughts on if it happens, and what would you like to see?
Oh, of course. If they want me, I'll always come back. I love that. I genuinely love the show. I feel like it has like done really big things for me. And um for Kenzie, I feel like I don't know. And I think this was the hard part probably for the writers where it's like, what does she do next? Like how like if she stays, is she like what are they gonna do? Um I don't know. I feel like Kenzie could still be a really good leader. I feel like she can still be someone to help out and someone to just have there for great advice. So I would love to be back. I know Kenzie would. So yeah. Mhm.
You're like, I'm at the mercy of the writers, but if they want me, they'll have me. And I think there is still so much to explore with these characters. Even when they leave, there's like that next chapter, and everyone's always interested to see what they are up to. What has portraying Kenzie taught you about yourself?
Mm. I think that's a good question. I feel like it showed me how like you can be a good leader, even if it's just on a show. I feel like being number one on the call sheet this year and having a bunch of new castmates who were younger, anything that would happen, they're looking at me like, what do we do? You know? And I felt like I was like kind of like I went from at the bottom to like going up a little bit to showing people the ropes. I I feel like I am a good leader. I can be a good leader if I really put my mind to it. I think I learned that you can't do everything by yourself. You do need a good team behind you. So I think those are some things.
And it's something you probably don't always think about during filming, but like you mean, it's something you can kind of reflect upon after the fact, and take these kind of elements into your real life, your real day-to-day life. Aside from Kenzie's storyline, which other character or actor in season 9 really impressed you with their arc?
Mm, with their arc. Let's see. Honestly, with like character development, I'll say Anthony. I feel like he's always wanted to be a leader, and I feel like he's always, come in saying, I want to do choreo, I want to help. And he got to do that, and he did a great job doing it. So I think that right there, and I feel like he learned how to show his emotions and be dance camp at the same time, and it's not just strictly work, 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 which is always nice. So I think Anthony.
How would you describe Kenzie's signature look, and how has it evolved over your 4 seasons on the show?
I feel as if obviously you can literally just watch me get older. Like I think um I was watching season 6 the other day and I had to turn it off because I'm like, oh my goodness, I was a baby. Even just hairstyles and look wise, style wise, I feel like I got a voice. I feel like I was allowed to like give more of an opinion on what I wanted to wear and like how I felt comfortable, which is really nice. And that's why I always encourage everyone like, hey, if you don't feel comfortable in it, definitely say something. Which is next up is like great for. So I think I also got to change my favorite color, put different colors. I never thought they wanted to put me in blue. This like they put me in blue. And I was like, blue? Like, okay, well, like, let's try it out. And I'm obsessed. Like, I didn't even know like blue would look good on me. So it's crazy. It makes you look little bit older. A color can look make you look a bit older. So, I don't know.
I love that they're also, aside from like helping you decide what to wear and you get input, but they're almost like stylists and color matching for you as well and making you feel more confident. I mean, do you have a favorite kind of outfit that she's worn, like not just a costume, but in terms of like, her day-to-day look in the studio?
Hmm. Um, I like the blue dress that she wore for Pete's duet. I think it was so cute. I also enjoyed, I like that I got a couple like new outfits this year. It was really cute. I like the white jacket. Oh no, the blue dress, the blue dance captain dress was my favorite. I'll have like the little tennis dress. I think that was my favorite.
You worked with the show's head choreographer and casting director, Amy Wright, for over 6 years now. What can you say about Amy, what you've learned from her, and how has she inspired you?
Amy. Amy's the best. I feel like Amy has just taught me how everything works. Like since the day I got there, she showed me the ropes. From the first call I met her, she's like, "Hey, this is how it works, this is how it goes." But at the same time, she just makes it fun. Like she makes everything a great time. If you ever need anything, like call Amy. Like she has most times an answer for everything. Um, yeah, she's just been amazing. Like she's taught me how everything, literally just how everything works. Like if you shoot it this way, camera work, choreography. Yeah. So Amy raised me. I've known her since I was 17. So
And you actually got to choreograph as well this season. You did a trio in episode 11, and you assisted with Ariana or Kate's solo for international. So, how was that experience for you?
it was amazing, honestly. I teach dance on the side, like I teach hip hop. So it was really nice to actually be like given like the opportunity for that. Amy took a chance on me and I really appreciate it. It's so much fun. Um, it's very interesting. It's very interesting because I'm like, whoa, like you're on the other side now. But I get to work with talented people, so they make it so easy. Like it was a very Like to see her name in the credits, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. So yeah, and also we got to help with the auditions for season 9 as well. So I got to see the cast audition, and it's like I got to do the choreography for the audition and stuff like that. So it was really cool. Everything overall was just like wow, like a different side of the set life.
Was it always something that you were interested in, expressed interest in, like maybe last season, the last couple seasons, maybe taking like a bigger role or just getting more involved in like even like you mentioned the auditions, so the casting process?
Hmm. Um, I feel like when we choreograph for like group numbers and stuff like that, like I feel like Amy is very collaborative. Amy likes to hear what you have to say and like, so like when we do stuff like that, I'm like, I feel like I have some decent ideas. So I think that was kind of like and I was seeing a couple other people doing choreography. I was like, you know what, I'd love to try it. So that was fun. Helping out with auditions with Amy, I'm just like, I feel like I don't even know how that started, to be honest, but it was really cool to just be on the other side and like I was at the auditions like, guys, it's okay. Like just calm, just be yourself. Like it was really just nice to help out because I was on that side at one point. Yeah.
And it's nice that they have this trust in you clearly and value your opinions, and you killed that trio. I mean, also Ben, Cherry, and Carter did such a good job with it.
So good. Yeah. Thank you so much. They're just so talented. It was so easy.
When you're filming, I know you went through kind of your monologue being a bit improvised. So is it often where the dialogue is improvised, or is it just very scene to scene, being improv or true to script?
So we have a script. They write everything out. But sometimes they ask for your opinion or like, what would you say here instead? Or like, how would this fit you better? Or are you okay with saying that? Or like, what would fit it? So, like I said, everything is scripted, but there'd be moments where they're like, you know what? You say something. You tell me how you feel in that moment. So I really enjoy that.
It's always fun to get to kind of riff off other people, like just back and forth. And I loved watching your season 8 and 9 vlogs. When did this idea come about that you wanted to document your time on set and also behind the scenes?
I've loved YouTube ever since I don't even know. I used to just sit on YouTube, watch vlogs, and like, I was like, wow, like I really want to do that. I've always wanted to do that. So I actually started in season 7. Um, I started vlogging randomly. I was just making some videos 'cause I'm like, you know what? Like, let's just do it. And then I did the Dance Mania vlog. I was like, this video got like 35K likes, like views. Like, people really want to see what's going on behind the scenes because I like to watch that stuff. I like to watch bloopers behind the scenes. So I was like, you know what? My friends are hilarious, and there's no way I'm the only person that thinks they're funny. So I just started vlogging, and I was like, you know what? This is really fun. So I started my channel in 2020, and then from there, I was like, okay, this is a perfect thing to vlog. So yeah.
And with those vlogs, you get a lot of help from your friends and your co-stars as well, because I know when you're dancing and you're rehearsing, you basically pass the camera and there's some good content on there.
Yeah, I love that. I always ask, but I love that my friends don't mind being in front of the camera. So I'm like, guys, if you have any footage, like, take it and send it to me. Like, I want to put it in my vlogs. Like, so they're always cool to just pick up the camera and film for me, or they'll just do it and be, oh, I got something. Like, let me send it to you. And I'm like, guys, it's like they're so supportive of like my social media, and they genuinely just want to see me do good, which like just warms my heart. So they will do anything to help, which is really nice.
The team has changed a lot, but what can you say about, your TNS family, past and present, and this specific group for season 9? What are a couple of your favorite moments from filming?
Um, I can say that growing up with the old cast, like I feel like we all grew up together, so which is like really nice. So I think we all got to teach each other something, if that makes sense. So we're all growing up together. With this cast, I feel like, of course, I have some people like in my age bracket, but it's also like it's really nice to be helpful. Like I feel like they have such bright futures. They're so talented. Like, and just being around a new group of talent is amazing. Everybody's so nice. We got along so well. I'm not, wasn't a bit nervous, but I was like, oh my goodness, like, I've been with those people since I was like 17 to like 24. So like being with a whole new cast, like how is it gonna be? But we all blended so well and they're honestly amazing. I had a great time.
What does a typical day on set look like for you?
Hmm. So I'll get there in the morning. I'll probably be the first one there. So we'll probably get there at like a earliest like 6:45. Go to get some breakfast. I go to hair and makeup, I go to wardrobe, and then I'll sit in the green room until everything is ready on set. And it just like I go through my sides, so they give you like an outline of what they're doing for the day, and I just go through, see how many scenes I have, what lines I have, because obviously I went over them the night before. um and then they call you when you're ready. You do a couple scenes back to back. Um, Most times then it's lunch, and then you do the same thing, you go home. It's like people say when you do what you love, like you don't feel like you're working. I don't feel like I'm at work. It's crazy how much fun they make it. So yeah, that's a typical day.
How do you kind of bond with the cast in between scenes? Like, I know in your vlogs there is a lot of napping that also goes on in between, but like, what else do you get up to? Because, there's just so many characters in this ensemble that, you're not in every scene, but you're on set the whole day.
Hmm. If we're not like on set, we're in the green room just being crazy. Honestly, like I feel like we didn't really leave each other alone. We were always doing something together, even offset. Like we were all together a lot, honestly and truly. So I think we just like we were stuck in one room for like 12 hours. So I feel like we at some point have to just entertain ourselves and we just start going a little bit crazy. So everything turns funny, everything turns to a joke, and then it just doesn't stop. Like it's like that every day.
I wonder if the kind of like the directors and they're like, oh, what are these children I'm dealing with? But hey, you gotta have fun on set.
100%. They're always like, "Are you guys done?" Like it's funny because we usually have our mics on. So they hear all the crazy things we're saying and all the things we're doing. Um but the thing is like directors, camera, everything is just as crazy. Like we all have such a great time together and I've known them like I said since I was like 17. So we've just all created such a family where it's like so much fun to go to work and you're joking around and they just want to make it so as much as hard work goes down every single time we're on set or rehearsal, they just know how to make it enjoyable, which is really nice.
How about the sets? How much has the studio felt like home between Studio A, Studio One, and the ever-changing cafe, diner, juice bar, bubble tea shop?
Yeah. I say this every time, and Amy looks at me. I actually have a video of her saying that. I'm like, every time I go into Studio 8, it looks bigger. Like, I don't know if it's just me, but I think every single time I haven't gone in there for a while and I go in there, it looks bigger. And Amy goes, "You say that every single time." I said, "I do because it does." Um, but I feel like everything is the same every time you go back, except for obviously like the juice bar. I think Cha Cha's is officially my favorite. Like, it was I walked in and I was like, whoa, like they put so much work into this, which is really nice. So yeah, I think that's like my favorite one.
What can you say about the Next Step fandom and the support that they have shown you and the show over the years?
Mm. Some Next Step fans are serious. Like I haven't seen a fan base like this in forever, and you guys need to like the support that you bring keeps us going, and we truly appreciate it. Like I do the vlogs for you. Like as much as I love having like video diaries of my life, like it makes me so happy that you guys enjoy the vlogs and you enjoy the content and you just enjoy the show in general. um we do it for you. Like we really appreciate the love and support from the bottom of our hearts. Like we don't say it enough. We love you and we really appreciate it.
Have you had the opportunity to meet a lot of fans in person? Like, do you ever get stopped on the street in Toronto?
I do a lot actually. Like it's more so now. Season 6 not so much, but like it's like now it's like people will stop and they'll like double take or I'll be at the mall and like it's wild, honestly. And I appreciate it. So if you see me like come say hi. I hope I don't look scary. I'm probably just thinking if I look scary, but I always smile, I swear.
And online with the fans, always been the ones campaigning for new seasons when it's been up in the air as well. So I'm sure that you're kind of feeling on seeing all of that love and support.
Of course, we see everything. Like I try and like go through and like everything and like make sure you guys feel seen and heard. We really appreciate it. Like I said, we do it for you and you guys keep it going.
So you have been vlogging for you said like 2020, so around 4 or 5 years now. How has that journey been for you? And do you ever have times where you lose some of that inspiration?
Yeah, honestly, it's been great. I was thinking about it this morning. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I still have a bunch of vlogs to put up and I have to edit and make sure everything comes out. So it's sometimes you do lose that like motivation. Especially like for me, like if it's not really like a next step video, sometimes it like doesn't do as well. But I do enjoy still making content. It's my art form besides dance. Like I can't draw. I really can't draw. But I can color, I can't draw. So like to me it was always like my outlet and I'm like, "Ooh, I can edit. Like I can like put something together." So I do lose the motivation sometimes, but sometimes I have to just like remember like why you do it because you love it and people kind of enjoy it. So that's what pushes me forward.
How do you find that balance between being present in the moment, but also wanting to, document these memories and film content?
It's hard because honestly, sometimes I'm like, I probably could have vlogged more, but sometimes I'm like, okay, like we're laughing, like we're in the moment, like I don't need my camera. Um, you just need to know what moments the camera won't disrupt, if that makes sense. Or sometimes I even just put my phone down and like just go back to hang out with my friends and like just let it record. And sometimes like you get the best moments like that sometimes. Um, because sometimes when you put your phone down, you forget it's recording. Like I do that all the time, and I'm like, oh my gosh, my phone. So it works out. Like you really just be in the moment, and it's still recording. So I think you just gotta just pick your battles, really.
I love that. It's like sometimes you look at your phone, you're like, how did I drain so much battery? It's just been on this entire time.
Literally.
But it is like really kind of to me a little fascinating, like kind of doing content creation because, like you mentioned, like you do have to kind of ground yourself sometimes and remind yourself that you're doing it not necessarily for the views, but because you like creating this for yourself.
Exactly. I agree. Like I probably should be putting out more content than I am, because like work wise, but sometimes it's like me, I'm such a perfectionist. So if it's like not to my best ability, like sometimes I just won't post it. Like I said, sometimes I'm like also just post it. If you like it, just post it. So I'm working on that for sure.
I know that you also love fashion and makeup. So, as an influencer and Fashion Nova ambassador, like how have these experiences been for you getting to attend more social events and work with brands?
I am somewhere right now that like I never thought like could be possible because like I said, I used to watch YouTube and watch all these people go to events and all these things and I don't even know like how it all started, if I'm being honest. Of course, the next step helped with like my following and stuff. But I've always wanted to like take pictures and like I've always loved makeup and putting on an outfit. So I feel like it all just kind of like fell into place and like going to these events is it's wow. Like I didn't even know this world kind of existed until I found out it existed. And it's just honestly so much fun. I love going to different events.
You kind of get to take your friends along with you, or have you met also a lot of like new kind of content creators through these spaces?
Yeah, it's very difficult sometimes to go to these events alone. Like as much as people think I'm very outgoing, I'm very shy. So if I start, I can't start a conversation, but if a conversation is started with me, like I can talk. So it's really good to like bring a friend with you. So I always ask the brand like, hey, can I bring a friend with me? And they're like, yeah, for sure. Um, so I bring my friends with me and sometimes like they've never been to one either. So it's like something we experience together. And I've made a lot of content creator friends who would just like also understand that side of it. So it's like if we go out and I'm filming, I don't feel uncomfortable. Yeah, there's a lot of content creators in Toronto and they're all so nice. So it's really nice to meet people.
It's nice to kind of get immersed in this world if you maybe need a bit of an extra push and you can find inspiration out there and vice versa. Are there any specific brands that you would love to collaborate with in the future, like bucket list here?
Hmm. I haven't even I feel like I have a list written somewhere. Um, Honestly, I've gotten pretty lucky. Like a bunch of I would love to work with like some fashion brands. Like I want to do more um outfits and even like fragrances. I feel like I've done a lot of makeup. I love makeup. Like my room is packed. It's crazy. But I also would love some like fragrance brands and clothing brands. I can like put some outfits together and stuff like that. Nothing really specific in my head, but yeah,
It's always good to kind of manifest it, and I'm
exactly.
sure it's coming for you. I mean, I love the content that you put out. It's always like so nice and curated on your Instagram with the occasional next step post as well.
Close. But yeah, thank you.
Do you have any upcoming projects that you can share or anything that you've worked on recently?
Um, Not any upcoming projects. I've just been auditioning like crazy. I just Yes, it just came out. Backspot was out in theaters, so I haven't seen it. It's online if you look it up, you can definitely watch it. I played Gina. It's a cheer movie, it was amazing that it came out in Cineplex. And yeah, that's the most recent project besides the next step that I've done.
I know that it was Backspot. They had their premiere in May. They were also at TIFF last September,
Yeah.
so you got to do some stuff with that as well.
That was like a crazy experience. There was like a red carpet. Um, Seeing yourself on like a theater screen is just like, whoa, whoa. It was very interesting working with a whole new cast as well. I knew some of the cheerleaders on the movie, but working with a whole new cast is also sometimes it's very refreshing. It's like this is not home. Like you have to like kind of like make it home or like work with other people. So it was very fun. Everything was just so much fun.
How was it being a cheerleader? Because you have had some experience doing kind of like cheer and dancing for like sports teams in the past.
Hmm. It was very interesting. I've always wanted to be a cheerleader. Like I watched all the Bring It On movies. I always wanted to do it. So when my little sister stopped dancing, I was like, put her in cheer. So my sister is a cheerleader. So I got to learn a lot. I learned how to like bass and stunt. Um, this is a dangerous sport, and nobody I think that's what I love about Backspot is they really show you how dangerous it can be, and it shows you all the work that goes into it. So I had a great time being a cheerleader. Got to wear a cute little outfit, but at the same time, like be hardcore. Like that's what I loved.
Hopefully you get to, continue growing your roles and learning more about yourself and your athletic capabilities. I have one more question for you, our signature question. If you could be any ice cream flavor, which would you be and why?
Ooh, I would probably be I'd probably be salted caramel or maybe cookie dough. Those two. Something about those two. Oh, there's this one from Haagen-Dazs that's like cookie dough and brownie. Yeah, I'd be that one. That's the one.
I love that. Thank you so much, Emmerly, for taking the time to chat. It's been such a pleasure.
Oh my gosh, of course. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, well, hopefully we can catch up again in the future. But until then, for all those watching, make sure to catch Emmerly. And the next step, season 9, is out now on YTV in Canada and CBBC in the UK. And we will see you next time.
Perfect. Bye.